It seems like Kyrgios can't catch a break. Currently, there might be an ongoing debate over whether he is qualified to land himself in the future Big Three or not. But one thing is clear, the man definitely knows how to land himself a spot in the limelight. Recently, he had been facing backlash over withdrawing from the United Cup, and just now he withdrew from another tournament. Stay tuned for all of this and more. Starting with Nick withdrawing from another tournament. Nick Kyrgios has withdrawn from the Adelaide International as he tries to get well in time for the Australian Open after suffering an ankle injury. After missing the current mixed teams United Cup event in Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth with an ankle injury, this is the second consecutive competition from which the volatile tennis star has withdrawn. Alistair MacDonald, director of the tournament, stated that the Adelaide International was an important lead-up event for the athlete and that he is pretty upset at not being able to compete this year. He went on to wish the Aussie a successful time at the Australian Open. "We just hope Nick doesn't withdraw from that." This month has two ATP-WA Adelaide Internationals scheduled, the first of which features Novak Djokovic. Along with Andre Rublev, Lorenzo Musetti, and Dan Evans, Kyrgios was scheduled to play in the second round next week. The athlete was scheduled to compete in Adelaide during the tournament's second week. However, on January 10th, tournament organizers announced that he would no longer be participating. The news was confirmed by the organizers of the event, who said that he would not play in the second week of the competition owing to an injury. Following a statement acquired by News Corp, it has been confirmed, and people are feeling all sorts of ways about this revelation. The event and its supporters are understandably dismayed by this development, but Nick's well-being must come first. The statement by the event organizers said that Kyrgios was welcome at the Adelaide International anytime, wishing him a speedy recovery as he prepares for the Australian Open. Up next, here's why people are so agitated. The reason why the entire world is so agitated with this news is that this is the second tournament in a row that Nick has withdrawn from. Not to mention, he was already facing a lot of backlash from backing out of the United Cup just a couple of weeks ago. The 27-year-old withdrew from last week's United Cup team event due to an ankle injury, which upset Australia's co-captain Lleyton Hewitt. He surprised his teammates by pulling out of the United Cup at the last minute last week, and he later claimed that the Australian team co-captain Lleyton Hewitt threw him under the bus as a result. At the press conference before the match, Lleyton Hewitt voiced his displeasure with Kyrgios for not informing him of his withdrawal. When asked about Nick's injuries and subsequent withdrawal from the competition, he said that he and the rest of the squad had no idea. The captain concluded his comments by noting that he is really pleased with Alex de Minaur, who came in for Kyrgios as Australia's top men's seed, and that it was difficult for everyone on the squad to go into the United Cup with so much uncertainty. Not to forget, his captain from the United Cup team was the angriest. He said that if Nick were the only one impacted by choice, it would have been great, but when it comes to matters that include the team and other individuals and their preparation, they want to be kept informed of how things are progressing, particularly before entering a competition. Since Kyrgios wasn't able to play, Hewitt had to shuffle his lineup around, giving Alex de Minaur a bigger role. At the Ken Rosewall Arena in Sydney, de Minaur fell to Norrie in straight sets despite his newfound prominence. It must have been utter chaos for the guy to rearrange his whole squad with less than a day to go before one of the greatest championships in tennis. It's a big change for de Minaur, who had been preparing for two right-handers, Evans and Carreno Busta, while both Norrie and Nadal are left-handed. Following up, Kyrgios' manager has his back. The manager of last year's Wimbledon runner-up, Nick Kyrgios, Daniel Horsfall, fired back at those who questioned whether or not his client was hurt. Horsfall told The Age that preparations for the Australian Open are proceeding at a breakneck pace. Many were disappointed by his decision to skip the United Cup, he said, but he hoped that they could see that his injury was real. A lot of people, he thought, would benefit from asking questions before offering their opinions. With the latest withdrawal, Kyrgios will enter the Australian Open without having played a tune-up match on home soil this summer. The last time he competed in a single match for an ATP tournament was in Tokyo in October, but he has played in exhibition matches since then. Last year, Kyrgios competed in the final of Wimbledon and advanced to the fourth round of the US Open. The world number 22 is used to making do with less than ideal preparations at this point in his troubled career, but he will have to defy the odds if he wants to become a serious championship contender at the Australian Open. Now, let's look at whether he'll be returning for the Australian Open. Australian newspaper The Age quoted physiotherapist Will Mayer as saying that Nick Kyrgios made a choice to pull out of Adelaide. This was according to a report by Daniel Horsfall. Horsfall said that he hoped the media rumors about his client's health would end. No question exists in his mind that Nick Kyrgios can play in the Australian Open, he has declared. Kyrgios has been given a few options for his Australian Open training. He has been invited to play in Melbourne at the Kooyong Classic. Also, a famous hitter has volunteered to be Kyrgios' Kyrgios' hitting partner. Before the Australian Open, Novak Djokovic volunteered to play Nick Kyrgios in a warm-up match. The guys have become closer as a result of their intense and unforgettable Wimbledon final match. Both Djokovic and Kyrgios will compete in the Australian Open for the first time since Wimbledon's 2022 championships. Kyrgios hoped to improve upon his performance in the 2015 Australian Open when he advanced to the round of 8, a feat he has not been able to repeat. The 22nd ranked player in the world is presently camped out in his hometown of Canberra, but he is anticipated to go to Melbourne soon. Although he's been playing well as of late, his physical health will be in doubt when he takes the field in Melbourne for the majors. Kyrgios and Thanasi Kokkinakis will be defending their doubles championship at the Australian Open. Next week will be the draw for the 2023 Australian Open, with the proper tournament beginning on Monday, January 16th. What's more, he's still selling out arenas. Yep, you heard that right. Just recently, we've got news of tickets being all sold out for Nick's warm-up match with Novak. This just goes to show how much of a superstar he is in the eyes of the world. Sure, he might be withdrawing from competitions left, right, and center, but that in no way means that he is not the favorite anymore. With his warm-up match against Novak Djokovic in Melbourne on Friday selling out in 58 minutes, Nick Kyrgios took a shot at his detractors. In a fundraiser at Rod Laver Arena before the Australian Open, the controversial Australian will face the Serb in a rematch of last year's Wimbledon final. In his usual sassy manner, Kyrgios took to Twitter to give a shut-up call to his haters. He tweeted, "Wow, Nick Kyrgios is bad for the sport. Wow, what a disgrace and national embarrassment. How dare he sell out another stadium? The arrogance." The cost of a ticket to see the game on the 14,820 person capacity court was $20 Australian, 11.3 pounds. Kyrgios' on-court tantrums and antics have always been divisive, especially when juxtaposed with his enormous innate skill and impressive trick shots. Some of his actions have resulted in penalties, such as spitting at a spectator at Wimbledon, while others have been seen as entertaining interactions with the audience. Moving on, he's even thinking of retiring. The 27-year-old has been jokingly repeating time and time again how he'd love to retire once he wins a Grand Slam, and all of us, his loyal fans, have been blowing it away, not taking it seriously. But it looks like he's pretty serious about it, because he said it again when he was in Dubai. He said that if he ever won a Grand Slam, he probably would just retire. Nick said it was too much of a strain on him, what with all the traveling and being away from his family and friends, particularly because he is originally from Australia. The Aussie said that all you're doing is losing out on family traditions and major life events. Kyrgios believes that Australians like himself are at a disadvantage since they don't have enough time to go home between tournaments because the bulk of tour events are held in Europe and the United States. He said that no other tennis player in the world understood him the way he did since he was from Australia. A European or American player may easily lose or win a tournament, fly home in under 5 hours, and relax for a week before heading to the next competition. Comparatively, as an Australian, it tend to take longer trips of 4 to 7 months. He addressed the situation quite bluntly, saying, "I don't believe it's healthy." He also added how, to his knowledge, no other serious athlete anywhere in the world ever does anything like that, spending 7 months on your own like he has been doing, that is. Finally, a look at how he's dealing with it so far. Kyrgios came so close to winning a Grand Slam singles title this year, but he ultimately fell short against Novak Djokovic at Wimbledon. He and fellow Greek Thanasi Kokkinakis became doubles winners at the Australian Open and went on to make it to the year-end championships in Turin. The year 2022 was Kyrgios' most reliable season yet, and he looked more prepared for the struggles of the tour with the help of his close-knit entourage. Nick speculated that it was simpler because, he reasoned, success made everything simpler. Then he admitted that he really was fatigued. Nothing except tension for him. Great success on the court means more obligations away from it. That's a wrap for this video. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.